going on YouTube? Welcome to the channel. This is Lone Wolf, and in this video I want to teach you guys how to keep your pet alive and to make it easier to res your pet as a hunter. Alright, with that being said, let's get into it. Welcome everyone. So like I said, we're going to talk about how to keep your pet alive and how to make it easier to res your pet. Before we get into that, I want to ask you guys to definitely subscribe to my channel if you guys enjoy my videos. We're going to be pumping out a lot of videos. And give this video a like to help with the algorithm, to help the channel grow. And definitely share to people you think are going to gain something from this. All right, so if you play with a hunter who's struggling or you want to give tips, definitely share. And all right, so this is how we're going to do this video. We're going to talk about different ways and different layers. All right, so the first layer is going to be the baseline way to keep your pet alive and to res your pet easier. Then moving on to external abilities, where the hunter class doesn't have baseline but gets to gain it and keep it baseline. Talents and PvP talents. Okay, so we're gonna get into that. So for the first layer is the baseline way to keep your pet alive. All right, and the baseline way is your men pet, the most obvious. All right, but it's very underutilized in my opinion. I see a lot of hunters, when I see their gameplay or whatever, they don't use their men pet. Men pet is on a 10-second cooldown, and the duration that the men pet heal lasts on your pet is 10 seconds. Okay, so if you see that your men pet is up, that means that your pet is not getting healed at all. So just keep that in mind. That is the easiest way, and the reason it's very useful now versus when Shadowlands first released is that pets were buffed in 9.0.5, I believe, that they take 20% reduced damage from enemy players. Okay, so they're a bit more tanky, though they can still die. Having men pet that heals 50% of your pet's health over 10 seconds is massive, huge. So that is the first way to just keep your men pet alive. Just get used to it. Press it, put it on a keybind that you have quick access to, that you are able to use a lot without any hindrance, without a problem, because you're going to be using it a lot. And you want to try to make it where it's just second nature to just throw a heal to your pet. Another thing that can help with that is an add-on called Big Debuffs, which shows what spell is affecting the target at that very moment. And when you do use Menpet, you see the icon of Menpet plus the CD on it right here. So I'm on the PTR right now, so I won't be able to show you guys that add-on. Let's move on. The second way to help keep your pet alive is through your pet commands. Okay, so in addition to your men pets, you will want to keybind 3 other abilities, which is your pet follow, your pet attack, and your pet move too. All right, at first I remember like, oh, I don't need to do this or whatever, but the more I played with in PvP, the more it just made sense. Okay, so for instance, say this guy is behind a pillar, I can't attack him or whatever, I'm trying to press buttons, I can't do nothing, I can send my pet over there. All right, if his men pet is about to come off, I can just bring him back, I can hit him. If he's taking damage, I can just bring him back, I don't have to come over here and just press stuff, right? If he's taking damage and I want to force the enemy player to kind of like, because enemy players, they're inclined to kill your pet. And if you position your pet in a way that you can still hit the target, it is a good trade-off, right? Because your pet is getting healed and the target is out of line of sight. All right, very very huge. And if you're one of those that feel that there's already too many keybinds and it's just too many buttons, then I'm gonna be very blunt with you. You're going to stay at the same level that you are. You're not gonna pass that. All right, you can kind of go high, but there's gonna be a certain point where you just can't climb anymore because you're not utilizing mechanics or tools that is already built in to your class. So when people say, "Yo, my hunter class because my pet dies all the time," those are the people who kind of like don't understand what's going on with the hunter spec. So many different ways to keep your pet alive. Baseline. The third way, baseline, is your exhilaration for emotional for important situations. So if my pet look, he's about to get cracked and die, I can just use my exhilaration and boom, he's healed to 100% of its health with exhilaration. You only get healed 30%, but your pet gets the whole 100% of the heal. Now, I wanna I wanna tell you guys that the enemy team's win condition, or one of the win conditions, is to kill your pet. So a strategy that is used against you is to force you to use exhilaration in order to heal your pet. Now, I want to say that you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Obviously, if this is a scenario that you have to just keep them alive, then do what you must. But a strategy is going on your pet. You use exhilaration, they go on you, and they force you, the hunter, to use your defensives. Okay? So if you can avoid using exhilaration, because once you pop through your exhilaration, all you have is feign death and aspect of the cheetah that are defensives. Everything else is utility, like a scatter shot, your disengage, your bursting shot, all those things. But your defensives, that's what's more important. They want to force you to use your defensives. That way you have no way to protect yourself. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, your aspect of the turtle to revive your pet. Okay. Now at this point, that means if you use your turtle, that means that you have used everything in your toolkit to res your pet. Because in my opinion, there's so many ways, there's so many methods to keep your pet alive that you're doing it yourself a disservice by using an aspect of the turtle to res your pet. Now, obviously, if you have used everything else, if everything is on cooldown and aspect of your turtle is your last resort, then by all means go right ahead. But at that point is an uphill climb. Good luck. But those are things that in combination will keep your pet alive in a and or help you res your pet in a baseline manner. Okay, very important. So next thing is external ways that the hunter class does not have. Like if you start a hunter right now from level 1 and get it to level 60, the entire time you will never be told that you can get extra ability to your kit to help your pet stay alive, and that is play dead. Playing dead or play dead is exactly what feign death is to you, but for your pet. So let's go back to the example that we was just in, that I'm hitting this guy and I make him move over here, but my pet is like at 20% health and any hit can just kill him. At that point, I can't. There's no reason for me to bring him back to me because he can just die. Even on his way to me, he can die. At that point, what you want to do is play dead, because play dead. Not many hunters use this, all right. But play dead acts as if your pet is dead, and two, it takes the target off. Like if your target is aiming, or anybody who's aiming at your pet, if when you use play dead, it just takes the target off of them. So they're more inclined to just switch targets. It's a pet anyway. There's no point. This is a very massive and helpful way to keep your pet alive. Very, very huge. And if he is dead, or if you use play dead, you can still heal your pet with a men pet when he's laying on the ground. Very, very cool. Very awesome that we have this. It's just that we don't get this baseline. And the way you get this ability, if you don't know already, is to go to the Broken Isles, right, where Legion content, and you want to go to High Mountain and the True Shot Lodge. All right, and right now I'm just gonna do it on my survival hunter that I just leveled to 60. That way I can show you guys, and here it is. Hopefully I'm showing you while I'm talking. And you buy it off of this vendor. He has a tome. There's no reputation or anything that you need. You just go over there and you buy it. Okay, learn it, and you have Play Dead. Very, very cool. All right, so I use Play Dead. I can still heal him while he's on the ground. So he'll still look like he's dead, but I'm healing him. Very, very cool, and useful and effective, which is very important. All right, so that's the external way to keep your pet alive. Now let's go to your talents. Now for our talents, there are 3 different talents that help with keeping your pet alive, but only one is the best in Shadowlands. Only one. Now we're gonna go through the worst ones. Born to be Wild is one way to res your pet, right, and have access to your aspect to the turtle a little bit sooner. But the issue here is the cooldown is already long. So if your pet dies and you res them with the aspect of the turtle, your pet can die again, and you're asked out of a aspect of the turtle, a major defense. All right, so the cooldown is just way too massive, and post haste allows you to position yourself way more often to res your pet or to keep your pet alive if you tell them to come with you or whatever may have you. So this right here is way better than Born to Be Wild for resing your pet and the like. The second one will be Natural Mending. Natural Mending in BFA was very strong when you played with a healer that didn't stealth and against compositions that don't have stealth in them. Okay, so Natural Mending allows you to use Exhilaration much more often, which means that you can heal your pet to 100 more often. Now, the problem with this is in Shadowlands, there was a change, which we all know, that the time to res your pet is now 4 seconds long. All right, the cast time to res pet is 4 seconds, which is huge. That change itself made it way more serious to kill a pet, a hunter pet. It's more important to keep your pet alive than to res it. Okay. Now, with that being said, camouflage now is the go-to in anything PvP, in my opinion. I think the other two, even if you're playing with a healer and the other team doesn't have any stealthies and nobody can stealth, it doesn't matter. I feel like camouflage is just way better. And the reason camouflage is so important is because it's basically a 1 minute cooldown on, I will say, almost a guaranteed res pet. And what I want to say almost, because obviously you can get out of camouflage. They can force you out. They can hit you. They can AOE. They can flare. There's many ways to get you out of camouflage. But keeping all that in mind, if you do use your camouflage in a very effective manner, you can feign death into a camo and maybe you disengage or whatever may have you in order to res your pet. Okay, that to me is way more valuable than using any of these two. Okay. Another thing you can do is if your pet is about to die and your acceleration is up and you don't want to use aspect of the turtle, you can do the same thing where you can, while Mempet can help to an extent, you can completely keep your pet alive by using camo and using the heal from camo while men pet. Okay, that way your pet just heals up as quickly as possible, and you're able to continue your damage, your support. With talents out the way, we're gonna go to the PvP talents. Now, obviously, the thing that stands out the most is Wild Kingdom, because Wild Kingdom is designed exactly for that, to keep your pet alive. Now, with Marksmanship Hunters is way different than Beast Mastery and Survival, in the sense that they they depend on their pet much more than Marksmanship Hunter. It's just for many reasons. They got the stuns with their pet. Their pet does substantial damage. Half of your abilities don't work because they need your pet, their pets or whatever. But Marksmanship Hunter, you can do all your damage without your pet, and you still be fine. You could do all your utility except for your Master's Call and your Royal Sacrifice without your pet. Okay, so the reason I'm saying that is, sure, if you find yourself that your pet is dying a lot and you're learning the ways of a Marksmanship Hunter, and even the other two specs to an extent, then Wild Kingdom is gonna be valuable. But with everything we already talked about, all right, and I still haven't finished, because Scattershot is huge. Scattershot lasts 4 seconds on the target. You can just scatter into a rest pet, okay? You can binding shot into a rest pet. You can freezing trap into a rest pet. There's just so many different ways. You can Chimera Sting. Now that we have Chimera Sting, we can Chimera Sting into a men pet. So as long as you have enough distance and they can't really get to you, you have so many tools to keep your pet alive and to res a pet as a Marksmanship Hunter. So if you can avoid using Wild Kingdom, you will be better off, because you can definitely put a way more valuable talent from the PvP talents, okay? Huge, huge. I just want to mention that, because people are telling me, obviously, if you play Beastmaster and Survival, that Wild Kingdom is just vastly strong for them because of the reasons I stated. But as Monstership Hunter, the more utility you bring, or the more damage that you bring, the better. Scattershot is the number one way to res your pet. So say you're in a 2v2 or in a 3v3. Scattershot is good if you're in a position where you can scatter one person, the person who's going to most likely interrupt you, and then you can res. Duels, BGs, scattershot, res pet. Same with freezing trap, same with binding shot. As long as they don't have a range interrupt. Your Chimera Sting is it's last 3 seconds where they can't move. They have their movement speed is reduced by 90%. So they're almost like they can't move. It lasts 3 seconds. You can shoot it while far and still kind of get into a position where they can't get to you and res your pet. Another one is consecutive concussion. You can blow a complete stun, because obviously we don't need a pet to stun. But with consecutive concussion, you can use this specifically to res your pet. So you can consecutive one target and then scatter the other one, and then boom, and pet. Many, many different ways that a lot of people underutilize or do not understand, or it doesn't click in their mind that they can have so many ways to keep their pet alive. All right. Huge, huge, huge. I wanted to put this out there because I want the hunter community as a whole to just understand everything. All right, because I love Marksmanship Hunters, and I want to see them succeed hard body. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two. Definitely subscribe if you want. If you like my videos and you want to watch some more, give it a like and share. With that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.